the success for the people.
Okay.
For people.
He seems a really bad person. And we can all agree on hating him. Okay, next. Thank you.
He's a stupid man. His ultimate life goal is to make people sad. If he touches the water, it will become so salty.
Wow.
If he appears in front of you, you will see a big chunk of trash. The real reason of it, the real reason of air pollution is his words and sound.
Wow, that was really good. I mean, although it's describing a bad thing, how you put it was really excellent.
He's the most hypocrite person I have ever met, acting like he knows everything, but he knows nothing indeed. The way he thinks or acts like an arrogant person, and he always think he is confidence, and he have no idea about self-confidence.
Excellent, thank you. I can feel the hate. Okay, next.
Yeah, she's a horrible person. She didn't consider our feelings and she just come and took what she had and go out. She didn't listen to us and didn't accept our suggestion. I didn't know how to describe her, but I really helped her.
Okay, next.
But I'm not mentioning like them from.
It's okay, just tell me.
Just like I was describing his like appearance from my perspective.
Okay.
Okay, his face is like a triangle with black and blue colors, and there are so much flames are coming out of her mouth, and her eyes are so black, and she has a bald head and it's yellow, and
Okay.
she don't have an afro, but she used to color it with a black pen or something like that, and her lips are not existent.
Wow, okay. Next.
She's arrogant, indifferent, and she's dependent. She uses favoritism to get her aims. She follows people and pretends to be a friend just to get benefits. She deceives people perfectly and grasps their own opportunities. She lies a lot and doesn't tell the truth, even when interviewed in formal meetings.
Wow. Okay. You have a lot of, like, you reminded me of a lot of people. Okay, now, you're going to write how much you love that person. You're going to write how much you love that person. The person you just described as a hypocrite, right? You said that he pollutes air with his sound and words, and you said that he was
Bad.
really bad. Okay, and you also talked about how she never listens to your suggestions, she doesn't have a mouth, and you said that she's horrible, right? Okay, so now we're going to talk about how much you really love that person. How many minutes are you going to need? How much time are you going to need?
I think it's more harder
It's
to.
going to need hours. Like, you're going to try so hard to stop hating them as a start, and then you're going to try so hard to find
Find
anything
something,
to
yes.
love. Okay? And this is going to take long hours. How long did it take you to talk about how evil and horrible? Seconds. What's the difference? Because the first time we wrote based on how we felt. And that's why it was perfect. I mean, the metaphor he used, how air, I loved it. How air was polluted by the sound he made. It was really good. Now, this is exactly what I meant. If you're going to write something, it has to be from the heart. Because if it's not from the heart, it's gonna take you hours to write it. Okay? So if you're... Now, someone might say, okay, what if I need to write about sadness and I'm happy? Break your heart. Don't break your heart. But generally speaking, you need to feel it and live it in order to be able to write it. Some might say, what about fiction? Like, those who talked about vampires and werewolves never met vampires or werewolves, but they read about vampires and werewolves. Do you know vampires?
Yeah.
How do they die? How do vampires die? Sun? Who doesn't know that vampires can't live in the sun? We all know that vampires can't live in the sun, right? And we all know that vampires are killed with a stake in the heart, a wooden stake in the heart, or if you chop their necks. So if you ever meet a vampire, chop their necks, okay? What I want to say is that even those who write about fiction, read fiction first. Like, they're not just, you can start your own fictional world and add your own new beings, but in order to do that, you're going to need to really work on expanding your imagination. Like, if I ask you to describe this chair, you might say it's brown, you might say it has 4 legs. A person who notices the details may start talking about how sad the chair is because people keep sitting on it, him or her. Like, they keep, imagine this is like the chair is a man and people keep sitting on this man. It's annoying, right? So imagine how disturbed this chair is. Imagine how many people sat here and left and never felt sorry for the chair. Have you ever felt sorry for the chair? No? Nobody? Never felt sorry for a table?
Why
Because you're going to write creatively. You need to. Like, this is why I asked if you were all literary students. Who knows personification?
Yeah.
It comes from personify, person, making an inanimate, what's the word? Okay, I forgot the word. Anyhow, it's okay. Making an object sound like a person. Making a chair a human. Making the camera, the camera wants to be filmed one day. Why does it have to do the filming, right? Why do I have to always be the person who gives my friends some advice and never receive anything from them? Why do I have to be the person who loves everyone and is never loved? Now, if you're going to personify the camera and say that this camera feels really sad because it films everybody and it tells the stories of everybody, but nobody wants to hear her story or his story, if we consider it a man or a woman, it doesn't matter. So what does this tell us? If I'm going to analyze this, if you write a whole paragraph about how sad the camera is because it keeps telling everybody stories and nobody tells her story. Now, if we think of it from a literary perspective, we're going to say that this camera symbolizes people who feel that they give but never get anything in return. Now, how many people will feel that when they write about a camera who tells the world everything, but nobody says anything about her? A lot of people will feel that they are the camera, that this is exactly how they feel. You might ask a question. So why can't I just directly mention a person who gives a lot but never takes? Because the giving and the taking is limited, meaning. Now, let's imagine a person who loves everyone. They just love everyone. But that person is not loved by anyone. Like, he comes in the morning, cleans the room, and offers juice to everyone, and tells everyone that, I just want you to have fun, guys. But everybody in the room just hates him. We don't like him. It's just like we don't like the people we mentioned. We just don't like that person. Now, if that person reads the story of the camera, that's not a real person, and how the camera shows everyone everything, but nobody ever shows like her own story, is going to relate it to how he's feeling, okay? Now think of a third person who always offers help to others, not love. The first person offered love. This person offers help. If I see someone in the street who's carrying heavy bags, I help them carry them. If I see a blind man walking in the street, I help them cross the street. Now this person reads the same story, and they feel like, yes, this is what I do. I help, but nobody helps me, okay? Now, if the original story was a person who gave love and never was loved, this person is probably not gonna feel it. Maybe, this person only offers help. He doesn't offer love, okay? He just offers his help. Now, there are some people who love him, right? Now, he's not going to relate if it was a particular matter of another human being. Am I making sense or not? Okay, I'll explain it differently. If I give you an apple, okay, and I tell you enjoy the apple, and you don't give me an apple in return, and I write a whole story about how I gave you an apple, but you never gave me an apple in return. Now she might read the story and laugh, like, come on, you gave the person an apple, why should they give you an apple? It's like, get over it, go buy yourself an apple, right? But if we, like, I talk about, the camera who showed the world but nobody saw her, then I'm going to be able to relate to a similar story. And that's different from, what was I saying? And, okay, I'm sorry. That's different from talking about a particular apple. No one is going to relate to the apple, right? حد هنا حيريليت to the apple حيحس انه في يوم من الايام والله انا اعطيت حد تفاحه وما رجعش اعطاني تفاحه because it was an apple. It was very particular, very precise, and it was related to a certain person. But when we talk about an object that's not a living being, then it gives me more options. It gives me more possibilities. The whole idea of like the symbol of the story being told but nobody tells her, this is going to relate to a lot of people. This is going to relate to the person who offers help and to the person who offers love. Because they both give, never have anything in return, no matter what that thing is. Okay? So is it clear now what I meant? Are you sure? Okay. Where were we? We were talking about personification, right? And how important it is. If I ask you to read, like, let's imagine we have two books only, okay? Let's imagine this is a book, and this is a book. And I ask all of you to read this book, okay? I ask you to read this book, and you read it from cover to cover, and you enjoy it, and you start talking about it. After we're done with this experience, this experiment, after we're done with that, I ask you to talk about the exercise itself, not about the book. Again, I'm offering you two books, and I ask you all to read this book, and you read it from cover to cover, okay? And then we come again, and I discuss with you the exercise itself, me giving you the book and you reading the book. Now, what would you tell me after imagining all of that? You would say that you had fun reading the book, you felt like the book wasn't really that good, but how many of you will be thinking about the other book that was abandoned? Nobody read the other book. The other book is sad because nobody read the book, right? But how many of us will be thinking about the other book? We will all be so concentrating on the book that we actually read, the book that we finished, we accomplished, right? And we never allowed ourselves to go a little bit farther and look at the picture from distance. And when I look at the picture from distance, why did you assign all of us to read one book? Why didn't you care about the other book's feelings? I know this sounds ridiculous, but I want you to think of it as a metaphor. Like we're symbolizing more important things, okay? And if you remember this, next time you're going to care about people. And if you care about books, why this book was abandoned, next time you're going to think of how horrible you are when you decided to ask one of your friends to go with you and entirely ignored the other person only because you wanted to have fun. So by considering books and chairs and tables and thinking of how human they could be, this is going to help us understand other people. This is going to help us be more considering with other people. This is going to help make our stories more successful. Because again, if a reader reads about how sad a book was because it was abandoned, they're going to remember someone they abandoned at some point. And they're going to feel, wow, if the book was hurt, how about the person I hurt? Or it could be entirely the opposite. The reader could be the abandoned person and feel like, this is exactly what happened to me. They left me for another person. And this is why, again, it's important to use symbolism in our writing. It's important to use metaphors and similes. Now, because do you know metaphors and similes? You do? Okay, good. Make it easier for me. Can we have an example for a metaphor? Okay, I'll shake hands with you. Shake hands.
It says that you're holding hands.
Okay, it's okay. Yeah.
Okay, see you later. Bye.
I'm sorry. See, I love her. She's a nice person. So if I write about her, I'll write a really good story. Let's go back. Let's have an example of a metaphor.
The sky cried.
The sky cried, excellent. But this could be more of a personification. A metaphor would be like, if we're going, okay, it works as a metaphor. Okay, I'm gonna take it. So the sky cried. Anyone has other metaphors in mind? Or similes for this word? What's the difference between a metaphor and a simile?
Simile we use
As.
words as and like.
Excellent. So as and like, this is the only difference. So she's like, she's as beautiful as a late Thursday night. What's the relation between Thursday night and beauty? Because Thursday night is followed by Friday morning, means we can sleep as much as we want and not worry about waking up and seeing professors we don't know. Okay? So, this is a simile. Can we think of another simile?
He was brave like a lion.
He was brave like a lion, okay? Go beyond that. Like, try to go farther than what we know. She was like a torn curtain that nobody even noticed. So let's write it down. So she was like a torn curtain that nobody noticed. What could this mean? What could it mean? What does it relate to? How do we feel about it? Have you ever felt like your family is planning to go out and the whole family is going out, but last night something really horrible happened to you and you're really depressed and you're feeling really bad and you just don't want to go out, you just want to stay home. You don't care that the whole family is going out, you just want to stay home, but nobody's noticing that. So you're like the torn curtain that's in the corner and nobody can see it. Again, sad, very sad. It is heartbreaking. Okay, let's try something more optimistic. Yes.
Yeah, business.
Okay, don't mind.
And
Pessimistic.
it's not mine. She's pale like an empty bottle.
She's. What's the word?
Pale. شاحب.
Pale. Yeah. Okay. She's pale like
An empty bottle.
an empty bottle. Good. Anything optimistic? Nothing optimistic? Nothing happy, shining?
We're in Gaza.
Ah, okay. Well, Gaza is a beautiful place.
You have to act.
Yes.
No. No, it's if we look at the good side, we're gonna see a good side, inshallah.
She's shining like the sun in the morning.
She shines like the sun in the morning. I'll go to this one here. Excellent, thank you. Okay, she shines like the sun in the morning. How? This is something we all know. What shines? Suns shine, right? How about we try to twist it? Go somewhere else and make the metaphor even more mysterious. She shines like the lamp in a dark, cold room, spreading warmth and light. That's the idea. You need to tashtahu. That's the whole concept of creative writing. We all know that the sun shines and she's shining like the sun, but let's go beyond that. He's hurt like a pen which loses its edge while answering a final test without having any extra pens. It's really more miserable, right? Okay, so have other ideas. Go beyond what you know. Let's see. Go beyond what you know, beyond what you think. Is it incredible? Okay, good. Beyond Okay, let's talk about stars. How can you give me a simile about star but make it more mysterious, make it more distant? ذاكرين البعوضة and how it blended the holy blood of the two people who loved each other? Go like something wild, something beyond what we know, beyond the books, beyond everything. Okay, I'll give you some time to think about it, but before you go there, I want you to think of one important thing. How many senses do we have? How many senses?
5.
5 senses. What are they?
Touching,
Okay.
seeing,
Uh-huh.
and listening or hearing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Smelling.
Smelling.
Testing.
Texting. Excellent. If I ask you to describe a very delicious meal, how would you describe it? A meal. Describe a meal.
Yeah.
Tasty. Okay. I said meal. The first thing that came to your mind, tasting. Why? Because we eat meals. We don't sit back and watch. This is a very beautiful meal. I'm going to write a poem about how beautiful the meal looks. No, we see a meal and we eat the meal because that's what matters, right? So that's how you're going to get rid of the limits we create for ourselves. When we think of things, don't go to the first thing that comes to your mind or the second. Go to the third, go to the fourth. Talk about how the second you touched the plate, it felt very hot and reminded you of the day you lost a dear friend. Say that the feeling of like when you touch a very hot bottle, it stings, right? So what other emotions sting? Sadness, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, if I would describe how I felt when I lost my best friend in the war, I haven't lost my best friend, alhamdulillah, that's enough. Let's imagine that. I lost my best friend. What would be, like, it could be a very good way to describe how that felt. It was like touching a hot bottle and just, like, pulling myself away because it was too hot to handle. Just like the grief I felt. It was too much to handle. See how you connect the unconnected? You just try to go beyond what you think. يعني فكروا بالشغلة and then disregard what you think and go to the second or third thing that comes in mind. Okay? So let's go back to the senses. We generally use 4 senses the most. We talk about how things look, and we talk about how things smell, how they sound, and how they taste, but we never give more attention to how things feel. Okay? For example, I want you to like go back a little bit and keep your hands off the table. Keep your hands off the table. Okay? Keep your hands off the table. Off the table. How did the table feel? When you touched it, how did it feel? Was it soft? Was it harsh? Was it... Don't touch. Just tell me. How did it feel? Okay, how does the paper feel? If I could ask, how does it really feel? Don't tell me like it's soft. How soft? Why soft? Is it soft like the blouse you're wearing? Is it less soft? Is it more soft? Okay, what's the color of this table? It's brown. Everybody knows it's brown. It looks brown. What's the color of the... It's hardly yellow. It's not yellow. This could be yellow.
Yellowish brown.
Could be yellowish brown, but we all agree that it's brown. It's relatively black brown. The paper is white. How does it look like? It has some lines and it's small, big, and so on. How does it feel? We don't know. Although, how many times have you touched a notebook? How many times have we put our hands on the table? But we never paid attention to how things feel. If I ask you about the walls that surround your house, the walls of the street, okay, are they soft or do they have some hard edges? How many of you knows? How many of you noticed the walls that surround your house? Like the walls in the street, are they soft? Do they have hard edges?
No, they are
Anybody?
soft.
Are you sure 100%?
The walls in my house?
Not your house, in the street.
No, they are not.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Are you 100% sure?
Yes.
Are you
I
willing
noticed
to bet?
before.
You noticed them?
Yeah.
Okay, all of them are hard?
No, no.
So how do they feel? How do they feel when you touch them? How do
They
they
must
feel?
be. They are like so.
Okay, so you can say harsh or
Yeah.
rigid or
I
okay.
think so. And they are broken. They are so like harsh.
What else? Okay, have you ever felt like that? Have you ever felt like a wall?
Maybe they are separated from each other.
So you felt separated?
Yeah, so many times.
Okay, good. So the idea is that you need to learn to touch things, to feel things. Not just go for the four everybody knows senses. Because as I said, we all agreed that they're brown, right? But if I'm going to ask you how they felt, some may say really soft, some may say no, they're relatively harsh, some may say, like we disagree, like, my point is, how we feel things differs from a person to another. How we perceive things is generally like the same, almost the same. So we're going to learn to, for example, I feel like the dust on a car that hasn't been washed for 3 weeks. Have you ever felt like that? I mean, not from being washed or not, like from being left alone, deserted, nobody cares about it, and so on. I feel like, if you could compare two things, the table feels like the window we have at home. So you could compare two objects from the same perspective, from the very same material. Like you could relate between two things. Because once you learn how to relate one thing to another, objects, you're going to easily be able to relate between emotions and feelings and people. Now you might wonder, not wonder, more like ask, why are we focusing so much on feelings? Why are we focusing so much on emotions? Because, again, we're people, and that's what moves us. Even if the person is really, really horrible, and again, miserable and sad and whatever it is, all of these are considered emotions. They come from emotions. Think of a really bad person, the persons, like the people you hate. Ask yourself, why did they become that person? What happened to them? We were all born the same way, babies who knew nothing about the world. What made that person grow to be like that? And that is a very important question. I hate that person because she never listens to what I say. Have you ever wondered maybe she had other friends who used to give her bad advice that she learned that, fine, I'm going to depend on myself. I don't need others to tell me things. This could be a reason.
No, she's
How do you know?
university doctor, so
How do you know? How do you know? Have you lived
it's
with her?
their responsibility. So
Have you lived with her since her infancy?
It's also
We're talking about their emotions. We're not talking about what they do. We're talking about who they are. Because an evil person is not born evil. We're all born good, and how we grow old depends on the surroundings and so on. So if I'm going to not judge you, if I'm going to like you or hate you for a certain reason, I need to understand what made that reason happen. Like, we all have certain people in our lives whom we love because they're nice and sweet. Maybe these people were never, they never been through bad things, and because of that, they turned out to be this good. Maybe this person was hurt so many times that he decided that, okay, I'm not going to hurt anyone so that everybody, because I don't want others to be hurt like me, right? And the same person or a person with similar attributes, this person could go all bad just because he was hurt. Yani sometimes most of our university professors, not that I hate the university professors, but we're talking about generally, like university professors, teachers, doctors, whatever. When we think about them as students, some of them were tortured by their previous teachers, and they decided that today I'm finally getting my revenge from the world. I'm making all my students fail just like my teacher once failed me. Or a university professor may say, I was once done wrong too. Today I'm going to do the right thing, and I'm going to make everyone pass and have great marks. This is very rare, but it's there. Okay? Cool? Clear? Tamam?
Yes.
Okay. So keep in mind that when you write, you use your 5 senses so that the person in front of you would have, or not in front of you, the person reading your piece needs to feel what you're writing. Because if you're not feeling it, they're just not gonna read it. They're not going to be part of it. And the most important thing in reading is that you need to grab their attention. But the question is, this is a very important question. Am I writing because I want to be writing, because I want to, or because I want to please my audience? Am I writing because I want to be, like, I want people to say, wow, this person is a really good writer. Is this why you're writing? Because if this is why you're writing, stop writing. You need to write because you love writing, because you're passionate about writing, because you want to write. Remember when I told you to write about the person you hate the most and you were so creative about it and you wrote really good things? Because you wanted to write about it, because there was so much anger that you wanted to release, and you did, okay? But if I tell you, imagine me, جايكم كده اليوم أحكي معكم موضوع ديني, and you see that I'm a very religious person and this is a very religious talk, and I ask you to write about people you hate. Most of you will say that we don't hate people, people are good. None of you would even dare to write about a person they hate in the language you use in front of a person you know is really good and is like, he's here for religious purposes. You're like, this is the first thing that will come to your mind. But if you're really writing because you want to, then it's going to be different. So don't care about the audience. I'm not telling you not to care about the audience, but you have to be there too. You have to be the spirit of what you write. You have to enjoy what you write. To be 100% passionate about what you write. Okay? Clear?
Yeah.
Good? Because I know certain people who want to be famous. They want to start writing because it's gonna give me some good money. And I'm gonna be famous and people will be talking about me everywhere and they'll probably have some hashtags about my name. And that's not right. It shouldn't be like that. Because writing is more precious than that. And once you realize that, it's okay to want to be famous. It's okay. But at least don't make it your 100, don't think of it as the only aim you have. It's a bonus. Being famous is a bonus. If you write from your heart, you're going to definitely write well and you're going to be loved and you're going to be published. Okay? Good? So we're going to write with love and passion. And passion. Passion is the most important word. Okay. Before we go there, let's talk about inspiration. What is inspiration? Who mentioned the word inspiration? Someone mentioned the word and I told them it's very important.
Yes.
You talked about inspiration. Good. So what is inspiration? What does it mean to be inspired?
To be inspired by something.
By something. What can things that could inspire us be? Everything. Everything. Everything can inspire us. Everything, no matter how small or how big, can inspire you. For example, if we're going to talk about, look at me, okay? I want you to look at me, don't look away. You're not gonna look away, okay? There is something on the table in the middle. There's actually a table in the middle. Has anyone noticed the table in the middle of the table? Like, في table and then في table في النص. ما تطلعوش من
Yeah.
Has noticed the table?
Yeah.
You noticed the table. What's on the table?
Laptop.
No. No, there isn't a laptop. Okay, what's on the table?
Papers.
No. No. There are flowers on the table. They probably put the flowers so we would enjoy the view.
But we don't see it.
No, we don't see the flowers. Because we don't, أيوة يعني يمكن لو قعدنا ببين.
وقعدنا تحت الجو.
Generally speaking, if I'm going to write a story about these flowers, I'm going to talk about how beautiful they are, yet they're just not noticed. Like the simple details of our lives. There are so many things, so many small things that happen in our lives that are you think that they're small. For example, this morning you received a text message telling you that from a person you love, telling you that they love you and they care about you, a friend, family member. And although it's a small thing, it's a huge thing. right? So if we talk about the small things, we can use this as a metaphor. We can talk about the flowers that were put in the middle of the room that yet they were not noticed. This could also be used to tell the youth to go, live the moment, go live your life, because all small things matter, just like that flower. All small beautiful details matter, just like that flower. Even though it's plastic, but it's beautiful. Okay? Clear?
Lots of dust on it.
Yeah. It's okay. It shows how nobody takes care of it, that it's abandoned, left alone. عارف اليوم كده أبكوا شوية بس it's okay. إن شاء الله كده we'll get good inspiration moments. So inspiration is everything, is anything. Okay? Can you hear the horns outside? Like the beep beep of cars and stuff?
Yes.
Yeah, they could be a source of inspiration.
I don't think so.
Yeah, they can be, trust me. We can talk about how they went unnoticed, right? But we were feeling like some people are just annoying because this is a crowded area and they are using horns, and it could be like, it's really bad. But if we think about it from a different perspective, maybe because of that horn, a kid's life was saved. Maybe the guy pushed on the horn so that the guy who was walking down the street with the kid would see him. Maybe he was saying hello to another person, so this beep created a good relationship between the two. See, it could be hopeful. But because we're detached, and because we're looking at it from one perspective, that I've heard it and it was annoying, then it was annoying. But if I look deeper into it, and I look deeper, it could mean something, okay? That beep could be a poem, a story, anything you want. Anything in this room can be a poem or a story, as long as you learn to embrace the fact that everything around you is inspiring. Not that I want, okay, once I wrote about, like, I was going up the stairs, and I was going to a lecture, and suddenly, like, there were so many sounds around, you know, تعرف دوشة الطلبة أول ما ندخل في القاعة. You know it, it's very loud and very confusing. And then I sat there, and hearing everybody, I noticed that I was panting, I was breathing very hard. And then, like, the poem I wrote was about the first breaths and the last breaths of human beings. So, like, me breathing so hard because I was running off the stairs to get on time, it was inspiring because it reminded me of how every single breath we take is important. The fact that we can hear is inspiring. I mean, how many sounds there are in the world and how many voices there are in the world, and we are lucky enough to hear them. There are so many people who are deaf. They don't even know the difference between your voice and theirs. To them, everything is silence. Okay? So being able to hear is inspiring. I can write a poem about how a deaf person was suffering so much because they couldn't hear that beep. And if a deaf person wished for something, they could actually wish to hear. And if someone is deaf, they would be like, I even want to hear some cars beeping. I want to hear the banner because they just want to hear something. Okay? So this is why when we think of things, we need to go back a little bit and start looking at the bigger picture. And if I tell you, how did you find the food? Don't describe how it tasted. Tell me how you felt about it. Tell me what it reminded you of, connected to something else. Okay? Good? Cool? Okay. Let's see. In order to see if we truly got what we were talking about, I have Do you need a break? Let's have a break for 2 to 3 minutes. Okay? Am I boring you?
No.
Good. Do you feel inspired?
I start thinking about the elevator.
Wow, okay, good.
How he go up and down so many times at the same time.
Yeah, imagine يعني احنا بنقول ان الروتين قاتل. تخيلوا how would the elevator feel. right?
Yeah.
Excellent. I just realized, I didn't say my name. But أنا اسمي نور. Okay.
You don't know?
صحيح.
اسمه محمد.
ما شاء الله. عموما اسم نور جميل جدا. Not because my name is Noor, of course. Okay. كيف الإشي هذا بنزل؟ الإشي هذا كيف بنزل؟ What we're going to do now is that, remember when I told you I'm going to show you a few pictures? We're going to look at the pictures and we're going to look at the pictures and we're going to I'm going to we're gonna need to close the curtains. بس على الآخر لأنه الصورة معكم. واضحة الصورة؟ واضحة؟ Okay. How do you feel about it? Not what do you see, how do you feel about it?
That is a gloomy
Wait. Give them time. Think about it. How does it feel? How do you feel while looking at it?
Is this a city?
It's water, yes. Anyone wants to say anything?
Dark.
It's dark. Okay, we're gonna go. Would you like to?
I mean, like, dark is associated with sadness,
Uh-huh.
but at the same time, seeing the central point of the photo, the sun or the moon,
Yeah.
and it's kind of into lighting and hope.
And bringing some light into
Yeah.
the darkness. Okay, good. What else? Yes, please.
I see a conflict between water and air,
Okay, good.
and the moon is watching carelessly and trying to tell them that there is nothing worth fighting.
You're really good. You know that? You're really good.
Thank you.
You have the sense already there. Okay, keep going. What else?
That's it.
No, try more. Try harder.
Departure.
Departure.
That's what I see as well.
Okay, what else?
Sense of departure.
Yes, please. Go.
The building kills the nature of
No nature. We only have the sea and the moon. No nature. Excellent. What else?
I think it is tragic scene.
It's tragic. Okay, what else? Please. Any ideas?
Maybe frightening because the sea in this way, it reminds me with how many refugees have killed because of such things. I mean the sea, and they were trying to traveling or to.
Excellent. Good.
So fear.
Excellent. What else?
Me?
Yeah.
I think every building is envy the moon for being, for living in a quiet environment, and the moon is envying the buildings that they share their life with each other.
Excellent. Any more ideas? Okay. Remember when I told you when we see people and we start thinking about their past, like I see you now and I look at you now and I tell you how you look right now. But as a writer, you need to go, like, you have the ability to go before and after. Okay, go through time before or after. So if I tell you, what do you see in this picture, you can talk to me about what was once there. Okay? Don't limit yourself to what you're given. Does that make sense? Yeah. You see darkness, and you
There
see
must
the
be
moon,
daylight.
and you see. This is what you see. What about the things you don't see? What about the people who are living in the building? We can't see any people. Yeah, I know. There are nobody in this picture. But who built these houses? Who lived there?
It's war. It's war.
It could be war. It could be famine. It could be diseases. They had to leave the place because of diseases. Okay, what else? If the picture was in daylight, is it going to be the same thing? Yeah, لو كانت الدنيا نهار وفي شمس. Is it going to be the same thing? There will be more light. We will feel like it's morning. It's not going to be.
There are people, I think. Why?
It will be, yeah, because people here could be asleep. So what I need you to do is to remember that the environment you create for your own writing, it has to match the purpose of what you're writing. Okay, that's one. Yeah, for example, if someone is going to talk about, we're going to go back to the idea of going in time in a second, but first, if someone is going to take this picture in daylight and show it to you in daylight, it's not going to feel as bad, because we saw a dark place. Like, the first thing we saw was darkness. Then we started noticing the details. Then we saw the buildings, then we saw the sea, then we saw the moon and stuff. But if it was all daylight, from the very beginning, we're just going to see what? We're going to see buildings and stuff. Yani, you need to give your reader a base so that they would build on it. In a case of suspicion, I think the very first thing was, it was talking about how the weather, right? Right?
Yeah.
You read it? I think?
Yeah.
And he started describing the weather, because weather is related to human emotion, right? Because sometimes we say, if it's raining heavily, it could symbolize someone who's really pissed off, sad, because it's raining heavily. Now, today we're going to learn to do the opposite. What does that mean? It means, have you ever felt really happy while it was raining?
Yeah.
Because you were sitting in bed drinking a hot cup of tea, and if it's in the morning, they canceled school, or they canceled, so it's going to be fun being home, listening to the rain. So the rain sometimes can symbolize good things. It doesn't always symbolize bad, horrible things. Same thing with the moon. The moon here, it gives light, it shows hope, but it's also it's shedding light on misery. The moon here is shedding light on how misery the place looks, right?
Yeah.
Now again, if I use the sun instead of the moon, it's going to ruin the whole thing, because the first thing I'm going to see is light. I'm not going to feel the same, like, seeing something dark for the first time, it gives us that spooky feeling, weird, scary feeling, right? So, number one, please remember that you need to create the suitable environment for what you're going to write. Meaning, don't start your writing talking about falafel Abu Talal, and then somehow you talking about the Third World War. Doesn't match. It's okay, in literature you can do whatever you want, I understand, but try to make sense, because you don't want your reader to feel like, come on, respect me as a reader at least, okay? When you write, remember that you're making friends with your readers. You're not writing for them, you're writing because you want to, but at the same time, what you write should touch people, should get to them. Say what you want, in the way you want, but don't go you need to remember that somebody's going to read this, okay? Especially if you're planning to publish it. I'm not saying that you write just to please them. Write what you believe in, but in a way that's going to work with those who read you, who go through your works. Okay, let's go back to the portion, like the going forward in time and going backward. This is a good technique when you write, because when we talk about short stories, we can't have enough space to talk about the whole life of a certain person, right? So what we do is that we get glimpses of their lives that are suitable to this story we're narrating, to the story we're writing. So if, for example, I'm going to talk about the destruction of this city, tamam? I need to, like, if I say that there are buildings and it's dark and people, like, there are no people in the picture and we have the sea and we have the moon, and I don't give a certain person, I don't highlight a certain thing, whether it's a building, an animal, a person, anything. You have to give your readers something to concentrate on, to connect with, because I can't connect with a big picture that has so many things. I need something to focus on, something to grab me, something to be attached to. Yani, we don't get attached to big things. We need to at least have one thing to think of, right? Like, for example, if I'm going to think of the moon and connect with the moon, then I'm going to see it like from up, and I'm going to talk about how the moon is watching carelessly, how they're fighting. Or if I talk about it from the perspective of the buildings, they're standing together, but they're still broken apart, right? The buildings, they're standing together, but from how it seems, they're broken apart. So how the moon sees it is different from how the building sees it, is different from how the sea sees it, right? So it's your job to give your reader something to focus on. Yani, give them some glasses. Well, help them see something. Don't give them everything and tell them this is everything. It's different. You have to give them one thing to concentrate on. When I asked you to look at the picture, every one of you, I'm positive, like the first thing they saw was different from the other. Some people perhaps just immediately saw the moon. Others saw how the sky, the clouds, they're departing, like they're moving apart for the moon to go through them. And then we have some who noticed the sea, some who noticed the buildings, and so on. If I ask you to go backward in time and imagine how it was in the morning, or how it was before the destruction happened, how would you narrate that story? How would you narrate this story? What would you talk about? What would you mention? What would you describe? And again, if we're talking about Palestinian literature, it's what we're going to do. I'm going to describe a certain person, a certain story, to give it depth, to give it, I know I said emotions a lot today, but it's important to give it emotions. So if I'm going to talk about this picture 20 years before it was taken, the place 20 years before it was taken, how was it? 20 years ago.
Everything was okay. People were living peacefully.
You said there's no nature, right? No natural places. So 20 years ago, maybe there were some trees. There were some gardens, parks for children, colors, people, life. What else? A family that used to come to a certain restaurant every Thursday night to enjoy some family time.
There are like huge building or tall building. It seems like it's a city, not a town. So it's not important to mention the nature. So
we're talking 20 years ago.
Okay, everything was okay. It was going so peacefully.
So 20 years ago, all these buildings were there?
No, for sure. But maybe.
Okay, 20 years ago, all buildings were there. Go 40 years ago.
No.
50 years ago. I don't mind. Go as back as you want to the place where you have a difference. You have, because at one point, this place wasn't like this. At one point, this place was
maybe
a happy
this place was inhabited.
So it's the people are not there.
Yeah.
Now, so who lived there? How did they live their lives? Were they close to each other, or each family was on its own? Mm-hmm. Once you realize how you want to tell your story, and from which perspective, that's how when you start actually writing your story. If I'm going to talk about this picture, I don't need to stick to this picture. I can talk about how this building was first built, the first people who lived in this town, the first anything you want, okay? So So my point is, when we look at things and when we want to write a certain story, we need to choose our perspective carefully. And don't limit yourself to what's in front of you. Don't limit yourself to what's in front of you. It's the things that you don't see or that others can't see is what makes you special. When you notice the details that nobody else notices is what makes your writing more enjoyable. Okay? Cool? Good? Okay. How about 20 years after this? How is it going to be? Is it going to be to stay the same? Let's say 40 years. 40 years from now. How is it going to be like? Hopeful again, more destruction. What? Use your imagination. Who says it's going to be a better place? You're a very hopeful person. So it's going to be a better place. The sun will rise again. People will go back and live here once more. Children will play and sing and dance and have fun again. The people will be at the beach swimming every summer. This is a good, hopeful thinking. What else? It could be entirely the opposite. More destruction is going to happen. Armies are going to be in this place fighting and more damage will be caused. Okay? So now I'm going to, this is what we just did. I want you to do with a different picture. This picture. See? Who says it looks nice? Who likes it? Who thinks it's really good?
It's very nice.
It is. It's hopeful. It's shining. It's morning. It's flowers, nature, no corruption, no darkness. It's no human being. Okay. How about I ask you? شايفين هي من وين متاخدة like الصورة؟ إن هي زاوية متاخدة؟ Maybe if you go and stand in the same street, you're not gonna even notice the flower, right? But because the photographer noticed the flower and he was like, wow, this is a good place, and they took it right from here, it's what made it beautiful. So again, stressing on the importance of choosing your perspective. Because if, for example, you stand, say, on the street and take a picture of this big field, there won't be the same effect because you're not giving me something to hold on to. But here I'm looking at the flowers, they're shining and they're dancing. They're not dancing, but they're dancing with the wind we have here, but you know, relatively speaking. Okay, so I want you to look at it, but I don't want you to limit yourself to what you're seeing. And I want to give you 5 minutes, and I want you to write, not a story, I just want you to write something about the picture. And again, don't limit yourself to what you're seeing. I want you to go beyond what you see. The focus of the picture is the flower. Your focus needs to be like, choose a different perspective. Choose a different angle. Look at it. Give yourself some time looking at it, choosing what you want to write about. Think of its elements, its components. Okay, 5 minutes? Good? Okay, you have 5 minutes.
situation could be if we have a trip to this place, and or imagine the happiness of the people who visit this place. It's very shiny. It makes us very hopeful. The red flowers in the middle of a big green fields. It's very beautiful.
Okay, good. Next.
Okay. It's the last day in winter where the sky is cloudy and the sun rays are trying to spread its rays all over the world after they were hidden behind the cloud throughout the winter time. And the flowers are waiting to the springtime to go out of their homes, and they finally succeeded.
Excellent. Thank you. Next.
The flower in the middle is gazing at the sky. The thick clouds surround the thick clouds surround the eye of the sun, trying to cover it. And that's it.
This is excellent. Good. So you concentrated on the flower in the middle, right? Good. Next, please.
Clothes seem to be like a golden mixed by sunlight. The tiny creatures that live between the bushes, which feel warm by this sunlight in the morning.
Excellent. Thank you. I love the description of the clouds. Next.
I wrote a funny story.
It's okay. I'd be happy to hear it. Please.
Yesterday's morning, I was sad. I was driving my car to nowhere. All of a sudden, I stopped my car. There was the sun glowing in that deserted field. Deserted field, there was that happy flower singing the nature song, playing with the blowing wind. I kneeled on the grass and asked that little flowers about their secret of happiness. They ignored me. I threatened them that I will stab over them. They just kept playing and dancing. Then I realized that ignoring is the key of happiness.
Wow, it's really good. It's really good. Well written. I love how, it's how they're happy. They ignore people. So it's like he learned the lesson from the flowers without having to talk to flowers. It's really good. Thank you. Next.
Okay, there is a new life for the happy farmers. They enjoyed with the dancing red flowers in these fields. New sunshine provided them new hope for their work and life. Their ambition is very big and they will do it.
Excellent.
I think
It's really good. Really good. Thank you. Can anyone see the path in the picture? Where's the path? There's a path. Can you see it? Yeah. Did you wonder how many people passed by these flowers and never saw them? Because they're small, relatively small, and people could be probably driving a car, walking by, and not noticing the details. But with the help of the photographer, we were able, without even going there, to enjoy a beautiful masterpiece. And this is what you're going to do with your writings. You're going to show them what they need to see and what you want them to see. If I say that you said you want to go there, right? And you imagined the trip, right? The journey to this place. Would you go there at night? Who would dare to go there at night? Would you dare to go there? I'm pretty much sure there are wild animals or really scary. I mean, come on, when the electricity is off and we're at the house and the doors are locked, we feel scared. So how about going to nature and it's dark and it's late and we'll be hearing so many really scary sounds coming out from animals. So how I make or take my picture affects how the world sees it. If the same picture was taken at night, or we filtered it and used black and white, if we used black and white, and the first thing we saw was darkness, our idea is going to be exactly the same as the one we just saw. Exactly the same. Okay? Clear?
Yeah.
Is my point clear? Okay, good. You two were really good. excellent job. Everyone did an excellent job, but they gave us depth. He mentioned the farmers and the dancing flowers, and he was talking about how by ignoring him, he learned that ignoring others is what we should do. One very last picture, this one. Is it clear or not? It's a little bit spiritual. Does it look spiritual to you? It talks about what? What could it talk about? Kabela? What could it talk about? What could it symbolize? What could it
people.
Seeing through people. This is good. Seeing through people. Good. What else? How did it make you feel? How did you feel when you saw it? How did you feel?
I think the man is guilty.
Guilty because of like he looks like he's got his back hunched. Okay, what else? Why is he guilty? What do you think he did?
He is go down.
What do you think he did? Why do you think he's guilty? I mean, what is the thing that makes him guilty?
Maybe he is a thief or do something wrong.
Kill someone?
And
Kill someone. Okay,
Yeah.
good. Maybe this is like him attached to the spirit he's killed, right? Something like that. What else? How did it make you feel?
Yeah, he's in a place, but he's still in another place. He wants to reach another place, and we have nature like sun, skies. So nature, something so special. He wants
Good.
to raise his soul for somewhere else.
Good. Really good. Okay, what else? How do you feel? How do you feel about it?
Sad.
You feel sad? Lost, maybe?
I think it's tragic, but the sun is the source of hope, I think.
So although it's sad, there's still hope. How many people are there in the picture?
Two.
How many people are there in the picture? Two. So why are we concentrating on one? What about the other one?
I
There.
think he is the same person.
The same person. Okay.
The second person, the person who seek to make, the second person who seek to make himself. I forget the word.
It's okay. I forget words all the time. ايش بدك تحكي بصدق؟
إنه الشخص اللي نفسه يصل له يصير يتغير.
Okay, excellent. So we have the present. The first guy is the present.
And
The second guy is the future. What he wants.
Yeah,
So good. Excellent.
the same. He's the same person. He wants his soul to go like to another place.
How do you
Can't they-
explain that one of them is shorter than the other?
Can't there be a mother and a son?
A mother and a son. Where is the mother and where is the son?
The mother is the yellow one, and the son is the red one. And she's always protecting him and praying for him.
And you know what's interesting is that she's the son. She's the mother, but she's the SUN. Look at the picture. If we think of it from your perspective, she's the mother, and the person in front of her is the son, SON. Okay?
Yes.
So, but look at the picture. She's carrying. If we think that she could be carrying the son, as in she's the
So where's the
SUN, like son
The same.
and son. Okay?
Yes.
So although he's the son, she's the son. So although she's
It could
SON, he's SON, she's
It
SUN.
could be, or maybe she's pushing him for the word hope always, and that she's encouraging him and motivating him all the time.
Excellent. Okay, that's good.
I think the other man is his consciousness is rebuking him for what for his wrong and mistaken actions, and his guilty actions is preventing the glowing sun.
Wow, that's really good. Okay, what are other details in the picture?
It's a flower.
There's evil.
He's evil.
There's evil.
There is evil. Okay, good. What else? Okay. What else?
There is the flowers.
Okay, what about the flowers? Why are they there? Imagine there aren't any flowers. Would the picture be different? So why are there flowers? Okay, what about the clouds?
Can we say this love story?
A love story.
Yes.
Tell me more. Where is the love story?
Here, his girlfriend or his beloved left him.
خلينا نقول his wife.
eh,
خلينا نقول his wife.
His wife, okay,
Tell me.
left him and go away.
So
He is very sad.
he's very sad. So she's the one.
I think the flowers is evidence for this.
So this is what was once. The love that was once on the left, but on the right it's gone. Look, like we have hina mbayan. Okay, so we have flowers on the right, but we don't have anything on the left. See, it's a very small flower here. One very small flower. There's one flower here, and then there's that. So this is what was once, the love they once had, and this is what's left of it. Nothing. And the spirits. Like, the flowers represent their love, and the spirits represent what they once were, and now they're broken. But why did you say she left him? Why wasn't it the opposite?
Because the flowers is marmia.
Okay, but why not the opposite? Why didn't he leave her? And this is all about her, not him. I mean, technically, if we think that this is the woman and that's the man, he's red. Red is usually thought to be related to evil and stuff, and she's all shining in blue. And look, if you look at the colors, her colors are similar to the color of the neck of the flower. Okay, what do we learn from all of this? What did we just do? We analyzed the picture and we looked beyond what we thought. I'm going to ask you one question, and based on that question, I'm going to see whether we learned anything today here or not. I want you to try to go back to the beginning of the lecture before you met me. If you had seen this picture, would you feel exactly the same as you felt now?
No.
Okay, this is good. So I did something useful. Good. Okay, so from now on, I want you to think deeper about the things that surround you. I want you to pay attention to these sounds. See, it's annoying and disturbing, but at the same time, the person who's working is going to get paid for what he's doing, right? And through that money, he's not going to steal. He's going to go and provide for his family. He'll probably save so his children will grow old and go to college. So this very annoying sound is the source of life for another person's future. Okay, and this is how I want you to see things. Not how they are, but more of what they're all about. And deeper and so on. Okay? Thank you for listening. So,
Thank you.
okay. Good. All right. Did you have fun?
Yes.
Okay, cool.